This chart details the association's costs and how they relate to subscriptions. This will be of use to explain the logic behind the calculation of a proposed new category of membership, electronic. Our recent survey made it very clear there was substantial interest in a membership which offered all the full benefits of regular membership, but without the printing and postage costs of a physical funnel. And so the committee felt that this was something that we should put to the membership formally. You will be asked to vote on this later on with resolutions relating to this if you haven't already done so electronically. Members have been able to vote electronically via a link that was sent via email and posted on our website. So please don't vote today if you've already voted electronically. I stress, as I think we've stressed pretty much every year for the last few years, I do stress there's absolutely no intention of stopping printing funnel for all of us who enjoy the hard print version. Fortunately, the benefits of modern technology mean that if our print runs get reduced, as they may do, this need not increase costs materially for those who want what I would call a proper read. Any questions relating to this, please wait until later when we ask for your physical votes. And now, an explanation of how your committee is looking to make use of these new funds. Firstly, and perhaps not before time, we are now investing reserves in secure interest-bearing accounts rather than just allowing funds to languish in regular current accounts. Mark Leedham will be covering his initiatives on this later on in his report. And then regarding allocations, firstly, and of major importance, we now have reserves to cover us for unexpected costs. Strangely, we don't know what they'll be, but be reassured that we now have a solid buffer. And then, and very importantly, in addition to that, to give you some idea of where the committee is thinking of appropriating funds, £2,000 is budgeted for a new subcommittee which will focus on promoting and advertising the SBA and steamboating in general. About £3,000 is anticipated for new promotional and educational videos which will be produced professionally to introduce steamboating to less active or experienced members and also to the general public. We're planning firstly, a general public and family video which will publish the passion and romance of our hobby, so all for Facebook and social media use. And also an introductory video for those who think they might like a boat of their own, but maybe need a bit more information, rather along the lines of get your feet wet and keep your feet dry, events that we've run recently. £1,700 has been allocated to cover the costs involved in bringing the AGM to all members electronically rather than roughly the 10% that physically attend, us here. £1,500 allocated for professional IT help, very much needed. A budget for talks, seminars, conferences is also to be agreed. Excuse me. A budget for supporting sister organisations. Inland's Waterway and as others, our vice presidents are looking at this, after which we anticipate an appropriate budget. If you're good at mental arithmetic and you've been totting these figures up, you'll see that they come to somewhere in the region of £9,000. It's a big number, but very much in the interest of the association. The social aspect of the SBA is, of course, fundamentally important. With this in mind, your committee is focused on more socials to attract new members. We intend moving the SBA forward for both existing members and, importantly, with a view to attracting a new demographic. Additionally, talks and seminars will appear over time, tailored to dovetail with members' wishes. We do know the club needs more non-boat social events, and area reps are being asked to help with this, as they are best placed to shepherd their flock. We're encouraging reps to step up their contact and guidance, and suggestions and ideas in leaflet form are now available for all. And perhaps, if I can paraphrase a certain Mr. Kennedy, think not what the club can do for you. Amongst these, the get your feet wet, keep your feet dry. Bless you, John. I need that. Thank you. I keep saying, John, we will come in useful one day. Amongst these, get your feet wet, keep your feet dry initiatives work very well to introduce folk to the mysteries of steamboating. We now need volunteers to roll this out over the whole country. I think that's important. We need those volunteers. Regarding more conventional rallies, this year we've already got planned events for Windermere, Cheshire, Exeter, Cornwall, both Calstock and the Fowl, on the Thames, at Bristol Harbour, on the Way at Guildford. All fantastic stuff and great work to all. We now have an official club safety policy, together with a new, easy-to-use risk assessment template for hesitant event organisers. And if folk are thinking of organising an event and they refer to that, they will find it's very straightforward. Thank you, Ian Bucknell and Gilly, who have spent so many hours, and believe me, it is a lot of hours, on these important documents, which are absolutely essential nowadays. So I have no doubt that every single person here is a steam enthusiast and looks to the good of the club. Your passion for steam is shared throughout the committee, and that is why we serve. If you feel we're missing something, or indeed you have ideas that you would like to see adopted, please step forward and let us know. There are vacancies on the committee right now. And then finally, and with humility, I, as your exiting chair, may not have always got it right for everyone, but together I believe we've made a great deal of progress. Thank you for your support. And now our honorary membership secretary, Roger Powell, who's worked so hard for us, will present his report. Thank you. You couldn't read the slide. Okay. Is there anything we can do about that at the back? The slide? No. Is this the same slide that was in the funnel? The information in the table was not in the funnel. The information in the table is the same as the graphic. It's just presented in a different format. I'm afraid the projector is down to the school, not down to us. Okay, well, sorry about that, Sue, if it's not been clear, and to anyone else that had trouble reading it. Roger.
Thank you. Yeah, still just good morning, everybody. Good morning. Here's the membership report. I'd like to start firstly by thanking and expressing all our thanks to Sandra Brown. Sandra works in the background with me, welcoming new members. She puts together the welcome packs, which includes back copies of Funnel and various other goodie back bits, and posts those literally all over the world. And she does it very quietly, with very little fuss, and never ever gets it wrong as far as I can see. Secondly, Mark Levin, I'd like to thank him this year. He's assisted greatly in organising the direct debits for the annual membership round, and it went, well, as far as I'm concerned, very, very smoothly. So with thanks over, let me get into the main business. The current membership status, total membership list of members shows at 738. That's down 43 members on last year. The figures, but this figure includes various test fields complementary members, boiler inspectors, etc. There's 26 of them. And so the actual net membership of members is 712. However, of that 712 members at the time I wrote this report, 648 were active. And by active, I mean fully paid up, paid all their membership fees, and are full members of the team. 77 were showing us renewal overdue or underpaid, and we described those within the committee as being lapsed members. All right. This shows an improvement over my last report in 2023, which at that time we had 152 lapsed members. The reduction is reflected in the actions that we took at the end of March last year, or this year, no, last year, let's get it right, when we removed the persistent underpayers from the membership. This action with the committee's agreement this year, we will repeat. The effort here is very much to try and get back to an actual real membership rather than a fictitious one that I inherited when I took over the membership role. For some years, we've carried quite a large number of people who either have underpaid or in fact have not paid in years, but were still appearing on the membership file. Action taken to collect subscriptions this year, we included a statement in the funnel which came out, which we sent to every member, lapsed or not. Okay, and there was a brief article in there from myself that referred to the address page that comes with funnel, and on that, next to the membership number, it actually told the member whether they were deemed as active or lapsed. The result of that and ringing around and a few emails, etc., to date we had 18 members get in touch. 13 have cancelled or asked their membership to be cancelled, generally stating change of interest and obviously the bigger one, age, which demographic of us all is not going in the right direction at the moment. We had 5 family members report death of members in the last year that we were unaware of as well. So we're sort of coming up to date on that area of things, and we'll continue to look at that. Bear in mind, obviously, what John has just said in terms of the proposal of e-membership and things like that. There, I think, is room for some opportunities within that. A question was asked prior to the meeting about sort of where is the membership numbers going over the last few years. So I've done a little bit of work on that. In 2021, the membership was 859, and that was the year I took over, and it was highly sort of overinflated, in my opinion. We did some work over the year, and in 2022, we had what we felt was a slightly more realistic membership at 715. That in 2023, bear in mind 23 was the increase to the membership fee. That number dropped to 663, and to date, 2024, we're at 648. Over those periods, new members, in 2021 we had 44, 2022 we had 50, 2023 33, and year to date, which is only a few weeks in now, 4 so far this year. This decrease in the membership in 2023 equates to 15 members on the previous year. In 2023, we increased subscription. We had a situation at the end of the subscription round where we had 92 members who had underpaid their subscription, and that was split 26 who'd paid the £22 of the previous year but had not updated their standing orders, so in effect underpaid. And then there was 66 who had paid substantially less than £22 even. And had been habitually underpaying for some time. Turn the page. The committee decided that 26 members who in effect paid the previous year's subs correctly but not updated their standing orders would remain as members but in a lapsed status, only receiving the spring copy of Funnel. The remaining 66 members I described as serial offenders, who with a major effort and expense, we contacted them all using, if they had no other contact method, we wrote them by post. I think the postage was about £40 or £50. Phoned, emailed, used the area reps, and the committee also got involved in chasing people up. But after all of that event, it was agreed that the membership, lost my place. It was agreed these members should be removed from membership. It's worth noting that to date, I've only had one complaint out of those 66 members, and that was effectively my fault. I got 2 members with the same name, and deleted the wrong one. My apologies. So that member has been reinstated. This year's membership, should the remainder of those that we've lapsed not respond and not do anything, and we take a decision to remove them from membership at the end of this coming year, I'd be reporting a net membership at 584. Having said this, with the digital changes that we are proposing, I think, in fact, you're going to see membership rise, particularly on the junior side of things, where it is really with some, or a sad heart, that we don't have a single junior member within the group. There are some family members, but even those are few and far between. But the proposal that is coming up later on is that effectively junior members who opt to go for an electronic membership will join for free. So effectively, as long as they're in full-time education, there will be no charge for their membership. We will take that through. And to be honest with you, as we go forward, although we all love Funnel, no, the youth of today, no, they look at it on phones. They don't look at it as a printed copy anymore. So I'm quite confident that we're going to attract a large income of younger people, as long as we can get the message out there. Hence the videos and sort of other methods of attracting members that we're planning. Payment methods have not changed and remain the preferred one being direct debit, which again, as I said, has worked exceptionally well this year. Worldwide members pay by PayPal, and again, the teething problems we had a couple of years ago, they all seem to have disappeared now with a few tweaks to the system. For existing members, we still offer the options to continue paying by standard order, cheque, postal order, or direct debits directly into our account. But I would point out that members who we remove from membership, if they then at a later date decide that they want to rejoin, they will rejoin as new members, and therefore we will insist on setting up a direct debit for them. And that really ends my report. Any questions? Everybody happy? In that case, I shall make a run for it.
Now, if I'm still switched on.
No, I'm off, I think.
Without the electronic aid, Mark takes.
Slide. Oh, no, could you go back one? Should appear like that with the Treasurer's report. If it doesn't, never mind. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It's time for lunch, I think. Please accept my apologies for reading off my script, but I'll give you this now. For those who have read this report online in the AGM's pack, please ignore that report and replace it with the following that I'm now delivering here, because it's changed a little. Firstly, my thanks go to all of you members for electing me and entrusting me with your finances. My second thanks go to Nigel Thompson, who is our last treasurer of many years and passed me the accounts and comprehensive records all in good order, and also for the continued support and advice that he gives me. And then, of course, thanks to my beloved wife, Jo. For my part, the last year has been quite a steep learning curve, and I'm not an accountant or a bookkeeper, and have never been a treasurer before. The first challenge I encountered was becoming a signatory and operator for our 3 bank accounts. Santander has a working account, and it took 4 attempts and approximately 6 months before I successfully gained authority. My role has also enlarged a little, as I now operate the collection of direct debits for membership subscriptions in conjunction with Roger Powell, and I've also assumed some IT activities following the departure of Roger Heisey and Malcolm Duckett from the committee. Next, I'll give you some observations. As a result of the increased subscription fees commencing January 2023, our income for the year has also increased. Looking at the percentage increase in subscription fees, sorry, can you hear that better? Sorry, apologies. As a result of the increased subscription fees commencing January 2023, our income for the year also increased. Looking at the percentage increase in subscription fees, it is notable that this was only approximately 50% higher than may otherwise have been expected. Despite Roger Powell's efforts, we still have members who pay incorrect subscription amounts, and these are distorting our income figures. The additional subscription income was 33% higher at £6,620 compared with the 2022, but subscription rates rose in the order of 60%. Items of expenditure were similar to the previous year, which has had the effect of boosting our cash reserves. In recent years, it's been difficult to achieve interest on monies held in regulated, safe bank accounts. With the Bank of England base rate increases, this is no longer the case, and I ask your committee to approve the opening of interest-bearing investment accounts for our cash reserves. This was duly granted, and I also had a challenging experience of opening these accounts too. Despite no money being deposited before the year end, they are now open and hold the majority of our cash reserves. You will be aware that we advertise many events during the year, some of which are not organised by the SBA. In my accounts, I've only recorded the events whose finances passed through our accounts. Some of our event organisers have chosen to bypass our banks, and whilst this would appear to ease the complexity in their role, perhaps with practice, this practice should be discouraged, as we do not have financial oversight. Moving to the SBA store, in 2022, your committee approved reducing the book value of its stock by 1/3. During 2023, it was decided to write off its entire value. This is an accounting exercise, and the stock is still being held by Mike and Liz Bell, who remain happy to take your orders. Okay, now let's take a look at the figures. I've based these displays on Nigel Thompson's accounts from last year, so there'll be an ease of comparison. And I must say, remind you that our accounting year runs from the 1st of January until the 31st of December. Can you open the, right, that's the first slide. I apologise if you can't read the figures on the slide. Apparently this is the largest that can be projected. The events. 4 events passed through our account. 4 events passed through our books in 2023, with an additional report for FAL, saying that their income and expenditure had been equal at £120. You'll see the events produced a surplus of £288. I can't see it. Can you see it? Oh, there we are. £288, which was aided by a £100 Windermere donation. 2023's AGM appears to have made a surplus of £78, but we still have not received the school's invoice for hiring these premises. Additionally, the auction produced an income of £206, which is included under the receipts section. So in reality, the AGM, last year's AGM, won't have produced this surplus. Can you go to the second slide, please? So this is the income and expenditure account for year ending 31st December 2023. By far the largest effect on income is due to the first year membership subscription fees increase. Commercial advertising income has also increased due to Richard Havard's efforts, and we have benefited from additional donations. Our expenditure has generally followed previous years at similar levels. One area of note is our website provider, Wild Apricot, whose subscription fee rose by 26% in 2023. To offset this, we have taken a 2-year subscription, which comes with an additional 5% discount compared to our previous annual renewal. Also, we have sought some IT assistance, and that cost £50. But in order to maintain our in-house knowledge and skills base, plus manage costs, I would like to refrain from this use as far as possible. An exceptional item of expenditure is the store's stock write-off. This was a committee decision which follows 2022's valuation write-down of 1/3. Sales of items will continue as normal, but when an item is sold from stock, it will now produce a greater financial surplus. Although it is not obvious, in 2023, our store actually produced a surplus of £785.34. And I'll give you the calculation now, so please bear with me. The calculation for costs is £275.60 plus £69.56 plus £28, and that was the 275 was the cost of the supplies that had to be bought in. The £69 was the postage and expenses associated with sending the items out, and £28 was one person got a refund. So those costs come to 373. But the income was £1,158.50. So the result, 1158.5 minus 373.16, gives us £785.34 surplus. But because of the way that we've done this on the slide, it would show as a zero, no profit, no surplus. Can we go to the third slide, please? And this third slide should show our balance sheet, which calls me a nightmare. But anyway, never mind. It balances now. Our cash in the bank on the 1st of January 2023 was £15,316, and at year end was £22,273. The loan to the SBAS has been maintained at £1,500, and we have also paid a 2-year Wild Apricot subscription. Membership subscription renewals paid in December for the following year is similar to the previous year. I don't know if there's a next slide. Is there another slide? No. That's the final slide. Anyhow, I would just like now to look to the future. I'm happy to stand again as Treasurer, and assuming I continue, I would ask the committee to consider the manner in which we receive income from members. PayPal charges in 2023 were £467, and that's not insignificant. For UK transactions, their PayPal charges or fees are 2.9% plus 30p. For international transactions, they are subject to a 1.99% uplift. So that becomes 4.89% plus 30p. To put this into context, those of you here paying £6.50 through PayPal for tea and coffee today, that's resulted in a fee of 49p, which nets the SBA £6.01. Those adding lunch to this will paying £29 in a pay, and then therefore a PayPal fee of £1.14. I am aware of several members having difficulty when at the checkout page on our website, where PayPal appears to insist they create a PayPal account. With some on-screen guidance at the checkout on the checkout screen and some additional work for your treasurer, I do not see why we shouldn't encourage increased use of direct payment into our bank accounts. For example, now we are not charged to operate our conventional bank accounts. Members paying their annual subscription via direct debit are using the Go Cardless system. On a £36 transaction, the fee is 59p for this year, which is slightly higher than last year's. Total Go Cardless charges are not insignificant either. They were £217 for 2023, but this The Go Cardless system is something that doesn't appear to be broken, not yet anyway. The final thing for me to do is to ask for a scrutineer for the 2024 accounts. And unless this is dealt with later, I would like to propose Nigel Thompson once again. Thank you very much for listening, and I now invite you for any comments or questions. Nigel Thompson.
I'd just like to congratulate Mark on achieving a satisfactory conclusion to his accounting this year. He's done it so much better than I did it the first year, where I made a complete mess of it, no one noticed, and it only came to my attention when I attempted to do the next year's accounts, which became almost impossible. So anyway, thank you very much for doing that, and I think you've done a very good job.
Thank you, Nigel. Okay. Thank you, Gilly. I'm been reminded that we need a proposer and a seconder to adopt the 2023 accounts. So can I invite somebody to propose? And a seconder? Thank you.
Then we have to vote these. We've had online voting, as you know, so I'll add your voting in the room to the online voting.
Do you know what one?
We've had online voting, as I think a lot of you know. I've got the numbers for that. And so now what I'm doing as we go along is, as you vote, I'm adding the numbers together. Unless anyone objects, I think you can assume that as I'm adding them together, motions are being passed, unless I say otherwise. So we would now like the adoption of the accounts to be voted on. All those in favour, please, and hold your hands up while the counters come round.
Should you assume me as well?
And anyone wishing to vote against, please raise your hand. And anyone wishing to abstain, please raise your hand. No, lovely. Next, we need a proposer, please, and a seconder for Nigel Thompson to be the scrutineer for the 2024 accounts. So a proposer, please, Roger Powell. Thank you. Seconder? Alan Davis. Okay, now can we have a vote, please, for Nigel Thompson to be the 2024 scrutineer? All those in favour, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. 0, and any abstentions, please raise your hand. Thank you very much. So far, all those have been approved. The accounts have been adopted. Nigel Thompson, thank you, will be the scrutineer for next year. Now I'm going to hand back to John, who's going to hand it over.
That's me. I'm sacked.
Thank you, everyone. It's all gone smoothly so far, which is wonderful. So now, in the absence of our... so now we have to elect officers for the committee. I stand down, and now we need to appoint a new chair. So Dot Buller has been nominated, and you're so sorry. Yeah, over to Mark then.
Yes, I've been asked to do this bit. We normally have our president, Lord Michael, here, Michael Forsyth, but he can't make it. And as you know, you've heard his apologies. Just to let you know where I fit in on this one, I'm one of the vice presidents. We have 3 of us here today of the 4. Richard Havard is vice president, as you know, been so for many years, as has Brian Smith. I'm the junior one. We also have Adrian Birtles, who's not here, and you've heard his apologies as well. But so it falls to me as a VP and the most talkative one to fill Lord Michael's slot. But please note that I'm not the president, and neither am I a noble lord, or even an ignoble one for that matter. But I think there are 1 or 2 things that he would want to say, and so it falls to me just to spend just a few moments on those. The first is to say a very big thank you to everyone who's enabled the SPA to function over the year. And that means that we first of all say thank you to John, who's been chair for 3 years. He's not always had the easiest of times. And we thank you, John, for surviving these 3 years, not with too many black eyes, really. So, so John, warmest thanks for what you've done. And being, yes, let's give him a clap. And being a new treasurer, as Nigel has already indicated from the back of the room, is a massive challenge. And Mark Lidham deserves not just our thanks, but our congratulations on doing a profoundly excellent job, picking up something which actually is much more weighty than most people generally realize. So let's give him another round. And somebody who rarely gets thanks is our ONSEC, Gilly, actually, who is a tremendous driver in this organization. She's a lawyer, of course, as we all know by background and currently, and she steered us incredibly skillfully through quite a number of challenges. So thank you, Gilly, and we salute you, because you're standing down, aren't you? So we salute you. Let's give her a round of applause. And there are also a lot of committee members, or not a lot, but a group of committee members and co-opted office holders have also put in hours of their time, which they're never going to get back. We thank them equally warmly, and let's give them a round of applause too. So just very briefly, I want to recount to you that the other night, I had a terrible dream. It was really frightening. It was it's a theological dream, as you'd expect from me. It was a quiet day in heaven, and St. Peter was having a discussion with his Oppo manning the gates of hell. And there's a little maritime touch in there, I'm sure you noticed, because obviously they've got a speaking tube from heaven to hell. And the chat with Lucifer was about the kinds of people who finish up in either place. And you need to listen carefully to this, because it's salient, given how old so many of us are. Peter said, we don't need doctors or psychiatrists here because everyone up here is pretty nearly perfect, which of course is why they're here. And of course, you down below get an awful lot of clergy. We're glad to get the occasional good luthier or a piano tuner, because we have a lot of trouble up here in heaven with harps getting a bit worn with overuse. Well, said Lucifer, down here, we welcome the occasional engineer who can work on the air conditioning and the escalators for the staff. And I think you get more lifeboat crew than we do, because that's good, because when they come down to hell, they try to put rescue boats out on the lake of fire, and their GRP boats don't last long. Well, what about steamboaters, said St. Peter. Most come up here, of course, but if you ever got one, might he not have quite useful firing skills? Yeah, but think about it, said Lucifer. If we ever got one, he would probably have lost those firing skills because they're getting short of coal. And some only know about oil or propane. And worse still, some of the buggers are even selling their steamboats and going electric. Ah, yes, said Peter, but just watch your language. But I know who you mean, and those guys will definitely come down to you. And with that, I woke up in a cold sweat. But that just introduces the two tiny points that I want to make. The first is that we will be talking about coal and fuel and what we burn later on this afternoon. So we don't want to go into that now. But a lot of work is going into developing alternative and less polluting fuels, solid fuels. And of course, we are a member, we were actually very early members of the Heritage Fuels Alliance. So the SBA is very much represented there. And I edited Funnel for 6 years, and I know that Kevin would feel the same as I do. We're always grateful for articles that you might have, that you could write about your experiments with what you're burning, the kind of results that you're getting with the fuels that you're electing to use, because quite frankly, Frank Burston's best Welsh steam coal is now getting very expensive indeed. So the first thing. Let's move on to think about the SBA's age profile. Well, I hit 71 this year and probably have just a few years left, but I have a long-standing health issue, and while my workshop's full of steam, it's because I started steamboating when I was just 40. But the fact is that we need to recognize that as we look at the ads for the sale of boats, many of our bigger boats, in fact, all our bigger boats, are just not really selling because there isn't the money out there, and the generations below us don't have the same kind of, didn't have the same kind of education or have the same interests, a desire, for example, to maintain things that we older types often have. So I would just say that that does mean that we may have to take a different view about the way we proceed when we're boating on canals and rivers. Answer people's questions, be friendly to them, invite them on board if you possibly can, to make sure that the sheer joy of being on a steamboat and being colourful on our British waterways is something which is noted, and people want to say, hey, this is great, I think I'd like to do that too. So those are the two things perhaps our president might have wanted to say, I don't know. He might have had very different messages, but, and he would have had political perspectives as well, which I can't have. But my message to us is to celebrate those who inspired us to start steamboating, that we might inspire those coming on. Get out on the water, get seen, be interesting, add colour to our rivers, and enjoy the heritage of which we're custodians. So there we go. There's your sermon from the Reverend Mark Rudall. I'll now be the stand-in president. And I think first thing we have to do is to say, John, you are graciously dismissed. And thank you for what you've done. We've already said that. And we just have one nominee for the chair, and that's Dot Bullock. Where is she? Is she around? Oh, she's over there. So we just have the one nominee, and Dot Bullock has been nominated. She was proposed by Richard Havard, my colleague as a VP, and seconded by John Dewsbury, who's just now walking out in despair. So, oh no, not in despair. So I need to ask, we need to put this to the vote. Can we ask, please, that we vote on our one nominee, which is Dot Bullock, who's been a long-standing member of the committee. She's incredibly committed to all that she does within the SBA. She's also incredibly committed to a lot of what goes on the lakes. And we thank her for what she stands for. She is a brave woman standing to be chair of We Unruly Lot. So can we ask, please, for votes for Dot as our new chair? Yes. 30. 60. Votes against. I did. I'm 31, yes. There we go. My hand was waving away. Yes, votes against. Any abstainers? No. Dot, you are our new chair. Perhaps you'd like to come forward.
I'm up.
And may you survive with honour.
Thank you.
We're right behind you.
I'm wired up.
You're wired. Very good.
Yeah.
This is the point at which I disappear.
Before Dot starts, can I just mention that the online voting very much reflects your voting. I'm not going to bore you with actual numbers, but it's very much similar. So where you voted overwhelmingly for, that is reflected on the online votes. When I do the minutes, I'll put the actual figures in. Okay. Dot, move on to the election of our new treasurer.
Yeah, I just want to say a few words first.
Absolutely.
May, please.
Feel free.
Oh, thank you, everyone, for putting me up here. We'll have to see where it goes from here. I'm not going to talk for long because we do need to get on with the business. As most of you know, I do come from a different background to steamboating to all the other previous chairmen. And I don't mind being called a chairman because I belong to the human race and I belong to mankind, so we take man in that context. You've already heard from outgoing chairman John some of the initiatives that have been mooted, and you already know that from the funnel that I'm heading up the promoting steamboat on the SPA to the wider public with the aim to try and attract junior members. And this year we are sort of concentrating, or going to try and concentrate on attacking, to put it in commas, places like the steam gatherings where there are younger people there. And there is a good number of people here who have said that they will take promotional material, which is on the back behind where Kevin is aiming his camera, on there. There's the banners and the waterproof leaflet boxes for those who said they would take one, and packets of the funnels and leaflets for those who just want those to take to various things. So if you can please help yourselves to them when you come out. If you've any ideas about how we can put forward and get the idea of steamboating and indirectly, of course, the SBA out to the general public and especially to younger members, see how we can get interested besides what the initiatives that have already been discussed, then please do feel free to get in touch with me. You've all got my email. And if you have any questions or anything like that, or any ideas, you could ask me, because I need something to put in the chairman's chat, because quite honest, frankly, that's one of the worst aspects of being there, to have to write that. Anyway, we'll now get on for the agenda, continue on the agenda. Because there's been online voting, you've already realised this prior to this meeting, and for those that are unavailable to attend in person, all the appointments have to be treated individually with votes for, against and abstentions. And we already know the procedures for that, keeping a hand up on that. So the first one that has to be appointed is the honorary treasurer. Mark Liederman, as he's already said, is eligible and willing to continue. And in the absence of any other nominations, we'll go straight to the vote. Oh, sorry. Can we have a proposer, please? No. No, there's no. Oh, we asked for them, do we? Okay. Can I have a proposer, please, for Mark to continue? Yeah. Thank you. I thought with it not being up and it being a re-election rather than a new one. We always got it right. I'll remember that in future. Can we have a hands for 4, please? You got against? Against? Abstentions? Right, thank you. Yeah. Congratulations, Mark. You've been landed with it again. Right. The next on the agenda is for the Honorary Member Secretary. Likewise, Roger Powell is willing to continue. So can I have a proposer for Roger, please? Second. Right. 4 votes for. Against? Abstentions? Right. Right, and now we come to the Honorary Secretary, which is actually a different matter. Our Secretary for the last, and I've got a question mark here, how many years?
Well, there was a gap, so I don't know. It must be a good 10 or 12.
Good 10 or 12 years, yeah. Gilly Slater, she's standing down this year, and I'm sure we'd all like to thank her, but we've already done that. So, but we can do it again for the invaluable work she has done for the SBA. Thank you, Gilly. Now, not for want of trying, we were unable to find someone to fully replace Gilly. And in order for us to continue, a plan had to be come up with. And the plan to date is for Mark Leadenham to manage the role with the assistance of others. What's he on about?
You've got a proposer and a seconder on the screen.
You have not got that far yet.
To save you going there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got that down here. I know that. I knew that bit. Yeah. So that is the situation at the moment, and it is just so that we can keep going, because obviously we've got to have a secretary. It will be worked out how it's going to be run, but at the moment, Mark is going to manage the role, so he has to go and be voted on as officially the secretary. It's been proposed by John Dewsbury and seconded by Gilly Slater. So could I have all the votes for, please? Against? Abstentions? No, so that's done, right. Now we don't have, for those standing on the committee, who's continuing, we don't have to have for each one, right. Okay. No, it's okay, right, I'll get sorted. Committee members, we're a bit down on numbers on committee members, so if there's anybody who's really fancying it, do come forward, please. John Wynne stands down after his 5 years. Andy Hopper is not standing for re-election, and Malcolm Duckett resigned in 2023, so that's 3 out. Kevin Slater and Richard Cooksley are eligible and willing for re-election. Paul Cummins was invited onto the committee last year and is now eligible and willing to be elected. And we have 2 new nominations, Helen Steeple and Mike Cole. So we need to vote on all of those individually. Please, can I have a proposer for Kevin to continue on the committee? A seconder, please. And by show of hands again, for. Against? Abstentions? Right, that's that one. A proposer for Richard Cooksley, please. Okay. Votes for, please. Against? Any abstentions? That's that one done with. Paul Cummins, proposer, please. Votes for? Votes against? Abstentions? We now come to Helen Steeple, who is a new member to come into the committee. She is proposed by Chris Adamson and seconded by David Butters. Can I have votes for, please? Against? Abstentions? And for Mike Cole, the proposer is Malcolm Duckett and is seconded by myself, Dr. Buller. Votes for? Against? Abstentions? Okay. Right, that concludes the election of the officers, but as I've said before, if there's anybody who would feel that they could be interested and contribute to help with the running of the SPA, please do come forward. We now come to the resolutions. You've all had access to the resolutions and the commentary on them. And so I intend to just read out the actual resolution and then open the floor to the questions. Although the commentary, I feel that which were in all the documentation that was printed off, is self-explanatory. But if you do have any questions, myself or a member of the outgoing committee will always try and answer them. The first resolution, which will be taken by a simple majority vote, is that with effect from the 1st of January 2025, there will be a new and additional class of membership, which will be called an e-membership. E-membership will have all the benefits of current membership, but e-members will only receive or have access to an electronic form of funnel. and all SBA communications with e-members will be electronic and not in paper form. The subscription for the e-membership for 2025 will be £18 for UK and overseas members. Junior e-memberships will be free of charge. Is there anything that wants any questions to be asked on that? Oh, good. We can do it. So, votes for the resolution to be passed, please. Any against? Any abstentions? One abstention, yeah. Right. So the resolution 1 has now been passed. Is it noted anywhere? Is it noted to be noted anywhere special? No, just passed. Right. Resolution 2, which is again a simple majority vote, is that notwithstanding the requirements of the SBA Constitution and providing providing Resolution 1 is passed at the AGM, the proposal in Resolution 1 shall be put to all SBA members electronically. I'm sorry, I've got to have a drink. Sorry about that, that's better. Shall put to all SBA members electronically, but not in hard copy by post, and shall not be deemed passed by the SBA and so effective unless a majority of those members who vote electronically are in favour of the proposal. I presume they are. Yeah, the electronic members have passed it. Yeah, right. Any questions? Oh, good. Right, 4. Against? Abstentions? Right. Hang on. I've lost the start of it. Right. Resolution 3, which requires a constitutional change, it has to be a 2/3 majority vote. I'm right. And the resolution is that it's to alter the first year membership fee to reflect the date of joining. The SBA committee proposed that the following resolution be voted on at the AGM: that Article 6 of the Constitution be amended to read, subscriptions. The annual subscription rates for membership shall be determined from time to time at the annual general meeting or a special general meeting of the association. All subscriptions shall become due on the 1st of January of each year, and members joining after that date shall pay the following proportion of the annual subscription for that year. 1st of January to the 31st of March, 100%. 1st of April to the 30th of June, 75%. 1st of July to the 30th of September, 50%. 1st of October to the 31st of December, 25%. Members failing to renew their subscription by the 31st of March shall at the discretion of the committee cease to be members until such times as their overdue subscriptions are paid up, or they rejoin, and that this charge will be effective if passed at the AGM and subsequently passed by a poll of all members as required by the Constitution. The effective date, if it occurs, will be the date the results of the poll are announced by the Honorary Secretary. Any questions? Oh, we're doing all right. Right. Votes for? Against? Abstentions? No. Yeah. Yes. That is again passed unanimously, haven't they? They've been, yeah, unanimously. Almost. Right. So thank you very much. That's got through quite harmlessly. Right, I'll now call upon Kevin Sater to give the funnel report, please. Yeah.
Electronic members, we haven't got many people here today. If they got voting rights, you could have people online voting to a greater majority than people we got in the hall. So would it be sensible for them not to have voting rights?
Well, why should they not have voting rights, Alan? They're members.
If you've got an AGM and you have got a lot of electronic members, I mean, the people that attend the AGM, whatever they vote for might be overridden. That's all I was thinking.
Yeah.
I think we might be having online voting before the AGM in future.
I think you may have a point. If somebody is an electronic member, what prevents them coming to this meeting and voting in person as well as voting electronically previously?
Nothing exactly is the same as the situation we've got now. I made it very clear on the electronic voting that we've done online this week that you are on trust not to vote here in person and online. We can, it's a little bit more technically difficult, we can ask for an email address for everybody who votes, and we can validate that email address against the SBA membership list. Gets a little bit complicated, but it could be done. I really don't think, almost all our votes go through 99% approved. So one or two people being dishonest and voting twice is not going to skew the figures.
But if you wish it to be, I'm sure at the next committee meeting we can have a talk and a think about it, see if there's any thoughts. If you would like it, yeah. Would you like to? Yeah. Basically, we're putting you all on trust that you won't do it, that people won't do it. Yeah.
This is the SBA, not the government we're voting for.
But if you want it looked into, then we can do so, yeah. Okay. Right.
Right, it's going to be very quick. You'll be pleased to know because it's lunchtime now. Unbelievably, we got 2 minutes to 1. We're actually running on time. That must be a... Oh, lunch is booked for 1:30. All right. Well, maybe this will be a slightly longer speech then. If only. I'm afraid I don't have the gift of the gab like Mark. I think it's a milestone which I have marked with some back issues of the funnel on that, which reflects the work that's gone on over the last 50 years by all the other funnel editors. And I just think this is a very significant moment for the organisation that we've managed to last that long. This, at the end of the day, comes down to you, the contributors, and I make this plea every time I'm up here to say, please contribute. You know, the magazine is for you, about you. And one of the things that seems to have become popular at the moment, our off-signing chairman is saying he gave us a nice recipe for the last edition, and the edition before that had a blast from the past recipe. And so Firebox recipes or onboard cooking recipes. I seem to remember the other one, there was a blast from the past poem that involved champagne and sausages, which is a good combination in my book. So please, any of you master chefs out there, please let me have your recipes. And I feel like a broken record here. We've just voted on the electronic membership. Paper funnel is here to stay. And it will be very, very interested, and I'm sure most of you here, like myself, will be watching very, very closely to see how many members do transfer to become electronic members. I appreciate from the worldwide standpoint, it does make a lot of difference. We have a problem at the moment. If you're one of the few people who reads my editorial, you'll know that we've had problems with Denmark, where they want to charge 25 euro cents in import duty, and they also want to charge 25 euros handling charge, which makes it very expensive for our Danish members to receive their funnels. We have very fortunately got a German member who has been happy to receive 4 copies and forward the 3 to Denmark. And because they're posted within the EU, they don't incur the charge, which is very, very, very kind of him for the hassle. Unfortunately, I already know that the Danish members do not want to go electronic, so it's not going to solve that problem. Anyway, I've rambled on enough. Unless there's any questions for me, I'll wind it up now, and we can have a bit of chat and then lunch. Okay, thank you, Roger. There are some options for us in terms of how we publish the e-version of Funnel. The simplest way would be just to give the e-members a PDF file. This isn't particularly friendly, and one of the things that I've been investigating recently is the creation of an e-book or a flipping book. They're quite often. Some of you will no doubt have received catalogues from your favourite shops where it purports to be more like a book. There are a lot of other bells and whistles that can be added, in the sense that hyperlinks within the text can be clicked on and they will take you to a website or a video, and we can actually embed videos so that in the printed copy you would see a still. If it was the e-copy and you clicked on it, it would become a video. So there are some bells and whistles that we can add to the e-version, and may eventually prove to be the death knell of the paper version. But at the moment, that is not, this is an evolution, not a revolution. No more questions. Oh, sorry, there is a question.
Thank you very much. Right, I sent...
Testing.
Is that
Testing,
right?
testing.
Oh, God, hold it close to my mouth, right.
Testing,
okay,
testing.
I sent Kevin forwarded copies of a maritime newsletter, and actually 2 of them. and they are very, very useful. They don't cost anything really to produce. One of them, believe it or not, is called Maasmond Maritime by a Dutchman, Peter Sink. It comes out daily. The other one comes out roughly when they feel like it, about weekly, monthly, which is Tugs and Towing Line. But what you get on there is an A4 format. If you look at Funnel, what the problem is, and I've produced articles which we had center page fold outs and all the rest of it. If there's a nice detailed drawing on a format as small as Funnel, it's lost. The last Funnel, where there was the GA of the Polish destroyer, Grom and Belostroika, that little thumbnail drawing was so small as to be quite pointless. So if we do go at some time in the future with something that's a bit more up to date, the format of Funnel will be a damn sight better. And also, you don't need to count the pages because as long as it will fit on a PDF to be sent by internet, that's fine. So I feel it's the way forward, and we would produce something that's a lot better than the present Funnel. And just to scan the present Funnel with all its faults and limitations doesn't strike me as a very good idea. There we go.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your comments, John. Two things immediately jump to mind. As you will have seen in a recent, can't tell you which one, I did use the center spread to produce that pull out and keep boiler gauge glass tending poster. So there is the possibility, and I'm still learning. It's very good software that I use to put the funnel together with, and I am still learning. There is the possibility that we can use a cross-page spread so that we get a two-page spread to give you effectively an A4 drawing, which would give more details. And again, I revert back to if it's the E version, we can hyperlink that drawing on the page to whatever size it needs to be. Could be A0 for example. So as I've previously said, this is an evolutionary process, and I will be learning as we go along, and I will be looking forward to feedback from the membership as to how they see things going forward. And when I learn more, I'll let you know.
Thank you, Kevin.
Oh, you're wired. No, you're not. Oh, you are wired.
I am wired. Thank you. Right, there's just one final thing now, and that's the report from the Steamboat Association Services Limited report. Nigel Thompson? Oh, he's there. Thank you.
Are you wired? No.
Doing that. Thank you. Right. Greetings. Do I press this to get going? Yeah. Yeah. SBAS is a arm's length company separate from the SBA, which helps steam enthusiasts obtain boiler inspections and a library of technically approved boiler designs. Can we do another slide or so? Can we move on? Oh. Okay, that's sad. Right, we have a library of engine drawings and castings. The business itself there should be a graph here which explains how many inspections we've done and so forth, but all I can say is our number of inspections went down during COVID and has been fairly level for the last few years. This year, it seems to be doing a little bit better, but basically the number of members of the association is going down, and therefore fewer boilers inspections are required. We hope that income from the small amount of money we charge for engine and castings and so forth will help us keep going and paying for the liability insurance we have to take out to protect ourselves. Right. I purely mentioned that I had built, and there's supposed to be a nice picture of a Taylor twin that I built from the castings that the SBA can supply. I'm just saying that it's rather a fantastic engine. It pushes my launch along quite easily, and I'm encouraging members to buy plans from us and build engines, boilers, etc. We've started now supplying hull drawings as well. We've taken charge or to look after the Glyn Lancaster Jones set of designs, and I'm informed that the first boat built to one of these designs is on the stocks. Our pricing and so forth is purely based on, as I said, covering our costs. There are no fees or expenses asked by the members of our board. Now, I'd particularly like to thank some people. Chris Davis for providing the boiler booking service, John Maltby for updating the design library, Malcolm Duckett for his invaluable secretarial services, Christine Monkhouse for checking our numbers. This March is the 30th anniversary of us being set up by the SBA, and I think at our next meeting I will bake a cake. With that, I will let you to proceed to lunch, but if you've got any questions or fancy using any of our services, please get in touch with me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. SBA Services are going to offer naval architecture launch designs, and in that area, obviously, I've produced quite a lot in my working life, and I'm going to donate them to SBA Services, and there's a cardboard box there with various drawings. So some of these have been built, some haven't, and basically what it means is you can build a boat and you will know how it will perform, because obviously, as you know, I'm a naval architect.
Okay, well, thank you enormously, John, for that. Right, as soon as we've had a look at those drawings, I will get Malcolm Duckett to catalogue them and put them on the SBA website, where you can see all our boiler designs, all our castings that are available. Castings are constantly being updated. I myself have just had some lengthened 6A backstand castings made. So, you know, if you fancy that kind of work, it's great fun. It can keep you in the workshop for a couple of months building an engine. Absolutely, really enjoyable. Keep you out of everybody's way. You can see, hopefully on the website, you can see the rest of my presentation. There's an image of one of John King's boilers on there. I myself made a few of John King's triple drum boilers with Malcolm and one or two other people. They work really well. And just to give you a rough idea, my one cost less, the parts cost less than £2,000. Jane's probably not supposed to hear that, but there we are. So that's great fun. And any of that sort of stuff, we can put you in contact with people who can give you support, lend you tools and fixings, anything like that. So if you want to do any of that stuff, do get in touch with us. Thank you very much. Off to lunch.
Right, so I will close the meeting at... Well, I'll just close the meeting again. I will close the meeting at 1:15 p.m.